Hello everybody, Bandanna here, back with what's close to a Minecraft video, but not really. Like, this is MC Edit, if you did not know. This is what it looks like from the inside. And I'm going to be doing some basic tutorials on all these different items down here. That's the fill tool. We're mostly going to be covering the select block tool, and I'm going to show you what some of the basic applications that you can use to do this. One of the main things that I use it for is copying and pasting different objects. So I made this simple little wall right here, kind of cruddy looking at the same time. And what I did right there is I dragged selection. So once you have it selected, you can scroll through these. The red ones is signifying you can't use it right now because you don't have anything selected or anything to fill in. But the select tool is what you're going to use pretty much the most. So if it's not selected, you can press 1 to have it selected, and you can click with left click and drag it anywhere. And then when you left click again, you'll have two different points, the blue point and the yellow point. What you can do with that, if you take a look at these nudge buttons down at the bottom, if you hold left click on them and you use your WASD as it says there, like I'll just read it off. Click and hold while holding, use the movement keys WASD, Q, and Z. Q and Z is not something you see as much, and that allows you to go. Q makes you go up, and Z makes you go back down. And then if you hold Shift, say if I want to make a really large selection, I can select large areas and it'll move me like a chunk, I believe it is. Yes, I believe it's a chunk each time I click it this way, like 16 blocks, I'm pretty sure. And then you could do the same thing with yellow, up, down, and still holding Shift you can go up, down. So this is good for making big selections holding Shift. But what you can also do if you don't want to use the nudge, you see this little like orange box that surrounds it when you mouse over it. If I hold left click, I can drag it back and forth, up and down. This is sometimes easier if you just want to move it a couple blocks or you're just more used to it this way. I use nudge a lot because I'm just more used to it that way. You can do everything, and if you want to get the bottom, you kind of go to the bottom corner, see how it's selected. But if I put it up here, it gets here. But if you get to like the bottom corners, it'll allow you to select the bottom as well. So if you want to deselect something because you accidentally put it in the wrong spot and you just rather make a new one, you hit Control D and it goes away. So now we're going to get onto some of the copying and pasting. So I'm going to make a selection. So I'll do probably right here, and then I'll just drag it upwards because that's an easy way to do it. And then I'll nudge that up one, so now it's only covering the blocks I want to select. So if I do this, Control C, it's the same thing as if you were copying and pasting like on a Paint program or Word document, you can do the same thing. And then if I hit Control V, I get like a green box. And so say I want to make my wall over here somewhere. So that's where I'll put it. And if it's not quite in the right spot, or if I want to rotate it, I can hit E. Or there's the different things you can do up here. These are all the hotkeys, but for some of them, I'll just click it over here because it's right there. Only E is really what I use to turn, since it's conveniently next to the WASD keys. And the same thing goes for nudging. You can move it little bits up and down. And yeah, you can select to copy air. So say if you're putting something maybe in a cave and you want some space to work around it, it will copy any air blocks that are in here too. Copy water, so that's pretty much self-explanatory. You can copy the water that's within the selection, and copy biomes. So say if this was a grass biome over here, even though it's still desert, I could copy this and it would bring that biome to wherever you copied it. So I'm just going to import it right here, and we'll have it right there. You can also do the copy selection, which is just clone. You can click that when I have a selection activated. So I can hit clone here, and I can put it right back in. And for when I'm building, I like to, you don't have to do this, it's just a suggestion, because I like to make it an odd number for the wall, and that way I can overlap it by 1, so I know it's lining up. So the only other thing, oh, I almost forgot. I should have done this in the beginning, I'm sorry. But if you can have two different modes. If you when you're like this is how I pretty sure you'll start like this. However, it allows you to move around, and how you switch between modes is by right clicking. So if I like this, which I'm pretty sure it starts as, you will be able to have free camera, and you can use the WASD, Q, and Z keys to move around. And then if I hit right click, I can move my mouse, and my camera doesn't really move except left to right, forward and back of whichever way I'm looking. You can still move around, so say if I have a selection over here and I'm dragging it, I can still go over here to finish the longer selection. So if I hit Control S, that will save it for me, and I'm going to just basically make a little bit of a wall just to prove that it's very easy with this to make large objects, because I wouldn't want to take the time to make a huge wall around the whole thing, even though I'm not making a huge wall right now. And then if I hit Control V, I'm going to rotate this around so it lines up. And on the turns, I did not have it so it overlaps. I still could make it overlap, but I made it so it's the right distances. Like I kept it as things of 7. So now you see that I have two different pictures up here of the objects I saved. So every time you hit Control C on an object, it will save it for you. And what you can do is, if you want to, you can save this into a file, and then you can later import it back into MC Edit, but we'll get to that later. But now if I want to go back to this, I can just click on the little icon and put it back in. So then I forgot to hit import. So then I just hit import. I can continue to do this again and again and again until I have my little, I keep forgetting to hit import. That's something I've always had a bad habit of not doing. And then see, now I have a basic wall, a basic corner. I could add gates, probably in Minecraft. Go back into Minecraft and add a special gate. And then if I turn this around, I can make it more of a gate. But then that's pretty much all it is to that. And then I think that's all you really need to know about the selection tool. I don't think there's really anything else about that. Nah, actually I'm pretty sure I'm wrong. I was forgetting one thing. Now I was thinking about it. What you can do is, if you drag a selection, alright, say I want to get this selection in here too, go up a little bit. If I go like this and say I want to get rid of this, I only want to get rid of this, but there's other blocks in the way. For instance, we're just going to use the sandstone, even though it's not really in the way. I could just do this. But if I do this and say I want to just delete these blocks, I could go into fill and replace. This is kind of a both, so this is things that moves out of selection tools. Fill and replace. If I want to fill this whole area with stone, I can go like this, hit OK. You can also just click on these also. You don't have to use the numbers. And then I can hit fill. What that does is it fills the whole block. Say, oops, I didn't want to do that. I wanted just to fill a certain block. So I'll hit Control Z, undoes it. Unfortunately, I don't think you can do Control Y. No, you can't. To redo, so you can only undo things. So if I do fill and replace again, and I say there's a stone lining here, let me get rid of this so I can show you. There's a stone lining on the bottom. Say I didn't want that, I want it to be wood or some other block or clay. So I'll go like this. I'll do fill and replace, and then I'll say replace stone. Okay, and then hit replace. And what do I want? This is what I want to replace it with. And here's another tip. Since at least in the version I have, I don't. There's no clay blocks. 159 is clay, and then if you want like gray clay, I think that is 5. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. This could be yellow or something. But I'm going to do 5, and this will allow me to fill it in even though it doesn't show up and you can't select it within the menu, which you can scroll through with the mouse wheel. But I can still get blocks that aren't listed by typing in the data value. So I'm going to do 5. I think that might be blue though, I'm not sure. So I'm going to do that, and then we will replace any stone blocks with 159.5, which could be gray or it could be blue. And if you want to do it the other way around, say you want to replace the clay with stone because you didn't like how it looked, you can hit swap and it will do that. But I'm going to swap it back and hit replace. And within that whole selection, you can see that it has like this missing texture. See future block 159.5. You can mouse over any of the future blocks and it will tell you what the data value is, just in case you want to get it back. And so that's pretty much that. So if I hit Control Save, it will save all this again. And now I can zoom out, and I'm going to show you a couple other applications that are good for the fill. It's also good for filling in large water spaces. So say if I made like a pond or something. Here, let me just make a little indent, and then hit delete. That's how you delete things. It's pretty easy to do. And then say if I had like a little indent and I didn't want to have to fill the whole thing with manually with water, I could just go like this. But say it's not an even shape, unlike this. Say it's like a round circular pool or something like that. I can do fill and replace again, and I'm going to select fill air, which is actually right here. I don't even need to type it in. Replace, and I'll type in water because it's just easier, and then I'll do water not active, and then I'll do replace. So replace any air blocks and we'll refill it with water. So that's pretty useful as well. I've used it on many occasions. These are probably the things you use the most, besides some of the filters. And I think that's it for the brush, clone, and fill and replace. There's really not much else you need to do. I'm going to show you quickly how to import items. So see, I have these saved. Say that I want to save the wall pieces. I'll hit save, and I'll put it in. Go to my folder. It's on desktop. I'll just go to wherever I have my MC schematic files. See, I have Ghost Hunter greenhouse roof schematic, broken ship, trees and bushes, Ghost Hunter, and floating or flying things. So I'm just going to save it right into here. I'm going to just do wall piece. There we go, wall piece. So now if I go into import, I can go wall piece schematic and I can place it in. So say if I wanted to go into another map or something, or I needed to use it again in a future project, I could just easily import it again if I found it's important, which works well for trees and shrubs and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's about it for those three tools. And I think that's all I'm going to have for this episode. I'll probably come back with the brush tool and some of the filters and how to move spawn point and all that, and some of the chunk control stuff. But thank you so much for watching. My name is Purple Bandanna, and I will talk to you guys some other time in the future. Blah!